Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. My name is Robbie. Very delighted to be joining you from this gorgeous location, Seven Lemons House in Fuerteventura. And we're going to do a very short but simple practice this morning, this evening, depending what time of the day it is for you. We're going to focus on the neck, the thoracic spine, and the shoulders. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this practice is because, we often have those phrases we grow up with or axioms that we hear, such as you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And there's always, I feel, like a deeper underlying wisdom or at least a signpost towards truth in these statements. So I just thought it'd be super nice to give these parts of the body a little bit of attention. And yeah, it's perfect for any time of the day. So you're not going to need anything except two blocks if you have one, or one block is even fine. And if you don't have blocks, it would be great if you had some kind of nice thick firm cushion, or a bolster. If you have a bolster, that would be even better. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to stay in this standing position. We're going to start to focus on the neck first, and we're going to do controlled articular rotations. So I want you to start with your feet kind of a little bit wider than your hips, just pushing the ground away a little bit, so you feel the outside of the hips and the legs engage. Slight posterior pelvic tilt. So what that means is you're kind of closing the gap a little bit between your belly button and your pubic bone, feeling the lower back lengthen, and importantly, this is going to engage your core. Then with your palms facing forward, I want you to pull your fingertips down towards the ground as much as possible, so you feel that there's space between your earlobes and the head of your shoulders. And then we're going to start to move into the neck. So from this position, you're just facing forward. I'd like you just to glide your chin back. Imagine that you're pressing the back of the head against an imaginary wall behind you. And then from this position, we're going to come to flexion of the cervical spine. So what that means is you're going to slowly begin to lower your chin down towards the upper chest, feeling a sense of openness across the back of the neck. Really nice. Then from this position, you're going to drag your chin across the right collarbone. You're going to find a nice rotation of the neck here. So as you drag that chin across the collarbone, you're starting to look over the right shoulder. Now, not just with the eyes, but really feeling the head turn and rotate. And then from this position, we're going to come to neck extension. So it means you'll drop your right ear backwards, lift the left earlobe up to the sky, and you're going to start to rotate around towards the left side. So the throat will be open here. The back of the neck will close a little bit. And I want you to rotate fully around. When you get over to that left side, you're going to turn and rotate your head so that you're looking over that left shoulder. And then start to drag the chin across the left collarbone, coming back very slowly to the upper chest, to that starting position. Lift your head, come back to neutral. Beautiful. Let's do one more time to the opposite side. Now, just before we do this side, I just want to make it clear that if you feel any pinching or sharp shooting pains, especially on the side of your neck that is in a closed position, it's natural you're going to feel tension across the length and side of the tissue, but anything that gives you sharp shooting pain in the closed side, please don't move into that. Try and work your way around it, okay? So again, just gliding the chin back, and then we start with flexion. So you're slowly dropping the chin down towards the upper chest, starting to glide your chin across the left collarbone, so you fully rotate the neck. Again, work slowly. Again, the clue is in the name, controlled articular rotations. Start to find that extension, so you're opening the throat, lifting the chin up towards the sky, coming over gently to your right side, rotating, turning the head. Beautiful. And then start to bring your chin down across that right collarbone. Back of the neck is open. And then you glide yourself back to that neutral position, face forward. Beautiful. Let's come into shoulder cars. So hands either side of your hips. And just before we do this, what you want to be mindful of is that your arms don't get too involved in the action, right? So your hands are going to move around the outside of the thighs. That's fine. Heads of the shoulders are also going to move. But what we don't want, again, is the arms coming forward or coming back. From this position, then we start neutral. I want you now to glide your shoulder blades up your back. You're going to feel the heads of the shoulders lift towards your ears. And then you're going to protract the shoulder blades. So it means that you're spreading them across your back. It'll feel like your sternum dips back a little bit, but really the movement's coming from the shoulder blades. And then you're going to let the shoulder blades move down your back. Again, heads of the shoulders are going to feel like they move away from your ears. And then you're going to glide the shoulder blades in towards the spine. So you're going to get a nice compression here. Beautiful. And then you're going to lift up again, find that elevation of your shoulder blades, push them forward, protraction, let them glide down, depression, and let them retract, pulling into the spine. One more time, nice and smoothly, up, forward, down, and back. Beautiful. Pause there. We're going to reverse, so you're going to go forward, protract, elevate, lift up, retract, pull the shoulder blades in, and depress, lower them down. 2 more times. Come forward, up, back, and down, forward, up, back, and down. Beautiful. All right, let's move into thoracic cars. Forearms across your chest. Now again, just before we do this, I want you to be mindful. Don't get frustrated if this is the first time you've done it, because 2 things. If you're basically not utilizing movements, you're not going to have that kind of neural to motor pathway established. And the second thing is that your thoracic spine is notoriously, well, maybe I shouldn't say notoriously, but by default, the thoracic spine is a little more rigid, right? Because it's housing our lungs and our heart and keeping all of those organs safe. So it's not going to feel like you get a whole huge range of motion here, okay? So just keep it disciplined, keep it slow. Hands across your chest. We're going to start with thoracic flexion. So what I want you to do is basically try and isolate the movement from your lower rib cage up to your collarbones, and you're kind of feeling then that the abdomen and the lower back stays more or less out of the equation. So coming into that flexion, you're going to round out your upper back. You're dipping the fronts of the shoulders down towards the ground. And then you're going to rotate around to your left side. So you're going to let your right shoulder move over towards that left side. Now it might look different on your screen here. If you're looking at me, it'll look like your right side, but we're going to go to the left. And then you're going to find a little lateral side bend here. So it means your left shoulder is going to dip towards your left hip and your right shoulder is going to reach back. So now your chest is facing forward again. And now you're going to rotate so that your chest presses up into your forearms pressing up into the sky. As you rotate around to the right side, you're going to let that right shoulder dip towards your right hip. And then you're going to rotate the upper spine. So let that left shoulder move over to the right side. Turn as much as possible. Now just pause here. What I want you to make sure of is that this left hip doesn't pop forward, because now it starts to come into the hips and the lower back. So you're trying to keep the hips as if they're in concrete. And then you're going to come back into this flexion, round out your upper back. Okay, let's do that one more time. You're going to rotate around to your left. Beautiful. Then you're going to find a little bit of side bend, left shoulder towards left hip. Then you're going to lift the chest up into your arms as you rotate around. Lift, lift, lift. Find that side bend, right shoulder towards your right hip. Rotate, left shoulder moving to right side. And come back into flexion. Push your arms up into your chest. Try to feel broad in your upper back. And then come back to a starting position. Beautiful. Let's go 2 more times in the opposite direction. So again, find that flexion. You're going to rotate to your right side. Again, be mindful of your hips. You're going to find that side bend, right shoulder towards your right hip. Elevate, lift your chest up, lift it up, lift it up, lift it up. Rotate around to your left side. Find that side bend. Rotate from the thoracic spine here. Again, keep the hips squared and stable. And find that flexion round the upper back. One more time, rotating around to your right side. Again, be mindful of your hips. Find that side bend, right shoulder dipping towards your right hip. Lift the chest up and around. Find that nice extension of your thoracic spine. Find that lateral side bend, left shoulder towards your left hip. Rotate fully around to your left side. And then find that flexion. Beautiful, really nice. Come back into the center. Okay, gorgeous. Just one more standing pose here. You're going to release the arms down. You're going to find a nice, let's move these blocks out of the way. You're going to find a nice wide-legged position, and this will give the hips a little bit more tension just before we come onto the ground. So again, find a nice wide-legged position. Toes can be kind of ever so slightly turned in or just in line with your heels. You're going to draw your hands onto your hips here and bring a nice generous bend into your knees. So with your next inhale, I'd like you just to almost feel like you're pushing the hips down, elevating the chest up, creating length through your waist. And then as you exhale, keep that bend in your knees, move your chest forward as you hinge from the hips. So think about lengthening the back the whole way down. Now pause when you get to a position where your chest is parallel to the ground. And again, you can bend the knees a little bit more if you need to do that. The most important thing here is that you kind of keep a flat back position rather than the back rounding. Then from this position, I'll mirror you here. So we're going to bring our left hand down, just underneath the chest, spread out the fingers. And we're going to turn and open to the right side. So your right arm is going to raise, and you're just turning your chest open to the right side. Now, there's no real need here to look at that thumb. Often it's a cue that's given in yoga to look at that top thumb. You can do that, just make sure that it's comfortable on your neck and you're not straining. Try to just feel that you're guiding that left sitting bone slightly backwards. Again, trying to keep the hips and the pelvis relatively stable. And let's take one more breath here. Beautiful. We can swap sides now. Bring your hand down. Right hand is just going to come underneath the chest, or where your face is essentially. And again, in your own time, you're just going to turn open to that left side. Again, up to you really here what you would like to do with your neck. But I am going to invite you just to press down through that hand and arm that's on the ground to generate a little bit of force to turn and rotate to that left side. Take one more breath here. Again, try to feel like your right sitting bone is coming back if it feels like it's popping forward. Beautiful. And then let's bring the hands down. Okay, both hands are on the ground. What we can do here, if it doesn't feel too awkward for you, is just to come down to all fours. Beautiful. All right, in this all fours position, what we're going to do is find a neutral tabletop position. Let's give the shoulder blades a little bit of rotational action here. So you're going to first retract your shoulder blades. So in this position, it's going to feel like your chest dips towards the ground. It's important you keep your elbows locked out and feel your shoulder blades squeezing across your back. And then push the ground as hard as you can away from you. Feel your shoulder blades protract. And again, retract, let the chest dip, keep the elbows locked and protract. And again, lower down, retracting and protract. And your spine doesn't move here either. So really be aware if your spine starts to move like it does in cat-cow. That's really not what we're looking for. The spine is pretty much neutral, not moving. And then we'll see, can we start to just join in those other two rotational movements of the shoulder blades. Okay, so now you're going to start to depress and then retract and then elevate and protract and depress and retract and elevate and protract, and just do that at your own pace. And again, the movement is going to feel maybe new for you. It could feel slightly limiting. That's completely normal too. Again, remember, if you're not giving parts of your body particular attention, it's natural that we don't really adapt to establish those pathways and to call upon them at will very easily. So sometimes we have to build things back up. Okay, just one or two more times here. Beautiful. Really nice. Okay, and then pause in your neutral tabletop. From this position, right hand is going to come underneath your chest. Left hand is going to come onto the back of the head. And with your next inhale, you're just going to push into your right hand, turn your chest open to the left side. Breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice. Come back down, release the left hand. Left hand comes underneath your chest or your face, right hand behind the back of your head. And with your next inhale, push into your left hand, turn yourself open to the right side with the chest. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice. Come back. Beautiful. Let's come back to sit here on our heels. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, feel free to come to a cross-legged position. What we're going to do here is bring our arms out to the sides, make thumbs up. Try to retract your shoulder blades a little bit, so squeezing the shoulder blades slightly in towards your spine. Not doing that with a massive effort, but just trying to feel that you're ever so gently making that movement, right? And relax the head of the shoulders down. So it's kind of a retraction and depression of the shoulder blades. Again, thumbs up here. Don't let your elbows bend, so try to lock out your elbows. And then from here, you're going to roll your thumbs back behind you and roll them down towards the ground as much as possible. Again, try not to elevate and lift your chest here. Get into the thoracic spine. Try to keep your spine neutral. It's just coming from the shoulders. Beautiful. And then from here, your thumbs face back up to the sky or the ceiling. Rotate them forward in front of you and then down towards the ground, and pause here. And again, be mindful that you're not kind of hunching now or rounding the upper back. Just make sure that your wrists are in line with your shoulders. And let's do this 4 more times. So we're going to roll them up to the sky, back and down. Good. Roll them back up towards the sky, forward and down. A little more smoothly now. 3 more times, rolling back and down. Rolling forward and down. 2 more times. One more time. Beautiful. Thumbs back up towards the sky and release your arms down. You might feel the kind of deep layers of the shoulders there. It's beautiful. That's what we want to get into. And I'm just going to grab a block here. You can feel free to sit in the ground. I just like a block. We'll just give our neck a little bit of attention here again. So I'm going to get you to make that thumbs up position. This time, arms either side of your body. You're going to roll your thumbs in towards your hips and then back behind you. So you're finding that nice internal rotation of your shoulders. And then with that, reach back as far as you can. So getting that nice shoulder extension. And then from that position, just interlock your fingers. Clasp the hands together. Beautiful. Next inhale, you're going to lift the arms back, open the front of the chest. And as you exhale, you're going to bring both hands towards the outside of your right lower back or your right hip. Inhale, feel a slight upwards lift. Press down through your sitting bones on the block or the earth. And then as you exhale, you're just going to drop that right ear towards your right shoulder. And just breathing here nice and softly, naturally. You don't have to take control of the breath necessarily. And just encourage that left shoulder to be really heavy, creating distance between the earlobe and the head of the shoulder. And then we're just going to play with the stretch a little bit here. So keep in this side bend, but just elevate and roll your chin up towards the sky here. And just notice how that influences the stretch. Like, where can you feel the stretch subtly moving to as you do that? Take one more breath. Beautiful. And then bring that right ear to right shoulder, back where you started. And then just let the chin drop towards that right collarbone. And pay attention to where the stretch is now. Breathe. Gorgeous. Let's come back to that side bend, right ear to right shoulder. And ever so gently come back to neutral. Take your time, take your time. Next inhalation, you're going to reach your arms behind you. Feel that opening across the front of your chest, the anterior part of your shoulders. And then breathing out, bringing your arms outside of the left hip or left lower back. Inhale, push down through your sitting bones, create length, relax your right shoulder. And exhale, left ear towards your left shoulder. Consciously directing your breath into the area where you can feel lengthening. And lengthening doesn't always feel necessarily pleasant, mind you. Tissues here are in tension as they lengthen, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to feel all soft and beautiful. So just being aware, we don't have any expectation here when we explore and move the body. Again, just playing with that stretch, we're going to roll the chin up towards the sky. Staying in that little bit of a side bend, you might notice where the stretch moves to. For me, I can feel it a little more across the front side of my neck now. Then I'm just going to glide the chin so that it comes down towards my left collarbone. And again, I'm just paying close attention to how that movement influences the stretch. One more breath. Beautiful. Bring left ear to left shoulder. Slowly come back to neutral. Really take your time. Inhale, bring the arms out behind you. Once again, open the chest. And exhale, just release your hands nice and slowly. Okay, one more thing in the shoulders. One pose after that. And then we'll finish. So I'm going to get you now, again, make that thumbs up position. I'm going to get you with your thumbs facing up to the sky, arms out by the side. I'm going to get you to reach your thumbs up, creating a big Y shape. And then you're going to bend your elbows so that the thumbs are pointing down your back. Your knuckles are just on the back of the head here. Okay, from here you're going to repeat. So you're going to make that nice Y shape, open the arms wide, thumbs facing up to the sky, and start to open and reach the arms back. Start to rotate now. So your thumbs will go forward, but you're feeling the arm bone, rotate in the shoulder joint. So thumbs roll forward and down as you continue to reach back. So again, you're transferring into internal rotation. Reach back as much as you can behind you, getting that shoulder extension. And then you're going to bring both knuckles in towards one another at your lower or middle back. Beautiful. Pause there. Your thumbs now should be facing up towards the back of the head. Let your elbows roll forward here as much as possible, in by the side of your waist. Good. We're going to reverse, so let your your elbows roll back. We're going to reach out to the side, lengthening the elbows. We're going to reverse the motion, so getting nice and wide with the arms, starting to roll your thumbs forward and up to the sky, and you can even go back behind you here to get a nice deep external rotation of your shoulders. Pause in that Y shape and then bend your elbows and bring your knuckles back down behind the back of the head. Beautiful. All right. Let's slowly bring your elbows down in by the sides of your rib cage, and we'll release the hands down. Final pose here. Beautiful. Just to open the thoracic spine a little bit. So I have two blocks. I'm just going to place them wideways. If you have even one block, that's fine, but I'd rather that you don't put your block lengthways like this. So keep it widthways. Okay, if you have it lengthways, it just means it's going to press on the vertebrae a little bit more. And ideally, we don't want that. So get your blocks nice and wide. And ideally, you want the blocks to be situated more or less just underneath where your shoulder blades are. Okay, so just feel free to wiggle around here a little bit. And you're just going to come into this position where you can find a little bit of extension in your thoracic spine. So take a moment again, get comfortable, wiggle around if you need. You can have a little gap between both legs. And what I'd like you to do here is just focus on your rib cage for a moment here. So like try to notice if your lower ribs are flaring up and out. It's almost like your lower ribs are coming towards each armpit or each bicep. And what I'd like you to do here is try and close your lower ribs a little bit. So it's as if you're trying to rotate your lower ribs inwards and down towards your belly button. And you might actually feel the rib cage itself press into the blocks a little bit more, and that's okay. Now with your arms, you can have cactus arms, so it means your elbows are in line with your shoulders, or you could even reach them up overhead, but be mindful that that's a little more intense, of course, and intensity doesn't always mean that it's going to be better or more beneficial. So really just listen to what works for you. Alternatively, arms can just be down by the side of the body. That's also fine. But again, wherever you are, I really want you to focus on closing those lower ribs, okay, rather than the ribs flaring up and out. And then focus on your breath here. So we've done a little bit of work here with the shoulder blade. So every time that you inhale, I want you to feel your rib cage, your thoracic spine, your shoulder blades really spreading laterally across your back. So that means every time you inhale, you kind of feel an expansion from left to right side and from right to left side. And then use your exhale just to pull your lower ribs down and in a little bit more. And it might even feel like you're rounding your upper back a little bit, and that's beautiful. That's okay. That's kind of what we're looking for. Just focus on those inhales, growing wide across your back. Exhale, pull lower ribs down and in. And it just means that we get extension in the thoracic spine without necessarily compressing the back of the body. So we're just going to be here for 5 more breaths. You can bring a count to your breath here if that works for you, breathing in for 3 or 4. Maybe making the exhale a little bit longer for 4 or 5. 3 more breaths here, breathing in, growing wide. Exhaling, pulling rib cage down and in. 2 more breaths. One final breath. Really nice. Okay, from here, we're just going to bend our knees. You can bring your left hand just on your lower ribs or your abdomen. You can bend your right elbow so that the right arm is in a cactus shape, and just slowly roll off the bolster or the blocks. Go nice and slowly. Push into that right hand. We'll bring ourselves back up to a seated position. All right. Finding a seated position and just pausing here, getting comfortable sitting up nice and tall. Hands are on the knees. Close down the eyes if they're not already. And just let your awareness be very wide open here. Letting all sensations come to you rather than the tendency for your mind or the spotlight of your attention to go towards something. Instead, just relax back and let whatever it is you notice come to you. Any object, whether it's a thought, a physical sensation, a sound. And if you have a little more time here in your practice, I recommend you take this time to sit for another few moments. Don't put a limit or a condition on how long that will be, unless of course you need to. Take some time to sit here. And if your mind gets distracted, which it most likely will, as this is its nature, just come back to this sense of resting awareness. And either way, from me to you, I want to say a massive thank you for your time and your effort, your attention and your energy. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know. And see you next time. Thank you.